Diddy has been arrested in New York City after a grand jury indictment, and we have the breaking news. Though charges in the indictment are unknown, Billboard has confirmed the arrest. The rap mogul has been hit with at least 8 civil lawsuits alleging sexual abuse over the past year. Now, according to TMZ, Diddy was taken into federal custody at the FBI's Manhattan field office. In a statement to Billboard, an attorney for Diddy said, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man. He is an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal." We'll keep you posted as the story develops. For everything we know, head to billboard.com.
They say this: for decades, Sean Combs, the defendant, abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction.
I'm really in the industry, and I know there's a lot more niggas that's not in jail. They might not be on trial, but they did the same shit or way worse shit than R. Kelly. Our niggas still blasting any music. And so we can't just like pick and choose who you want to be angry at. Like, you know what I'm saying? You answered that very well. And if we gonna be mad at everybody that did a crime, then you might as well just turn off the music, turn off the radio, like all the fucking streaming sites gotta shut down. Because there's only going to be like 1% of the people.
Diddy, the renowned music mogul, was arrested in New York City on September 16, 2024, following a grand jury indictment on serious charges, including racketeering and trafficking related to engaging in adultery.
Was arrested on Monday, months after federal agents raided his homes. He also faces several civil lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault over the past few days.
Charges arise from allegations that Diddy orchestrated coerced intimate acts, often tied to secret events that were recorded and involved multiple victims.
Conspiracy charges following a months-long investigation. He appeared before a federal judge in New York on Tuesday, pleading not guilty and will remain behind bars.
The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
Prosecutors claim the rapper ran a criminal enterprise through his business empire, where he and his associates engaged in sex trafficking and forced labor. He's also accused of verbally and physically assaulting victims and using assistants and household staff to hide his crimes.
As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state.
Over the past year, Diddy has been confronted with multiple lawsuits alleging misconduct. His recent arrest marks a significant turn in these ongoing investigations.
Say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine.
Diddy is currently held at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn, the same facility where R. Kelly was previously detained. This jail is known for its harsh and inhumane conditions.
Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horror.
Inmates have reported widespread violence, self-harm, severe understaffing, and a lack of medical care at the facility. Described as hell on earth, it is notorious for unsanitary conditions, including food infested with cockroaches, moldy showers, and broken light fixtures.
Sean Diddy Combs back in court to request bail complains of horrific New York City jail conditions. My opinion! This dude, is he for real requesting bail? This is the same dude who conveniently skipped town when the authorities were raiding his houses, talking about, oh, I didn't know y'all were looking for me, fellas. Well, now you know, so could you come back in town? Because we got some questions for you. But I tell you what, after my vacation, I'll be right in to answer all your questions. Like, does he think the judge is stupid? If he gets bailed, that guy is gone forever, off to some country with no extradition treaty, living a lube-room-having lifestyle, because he's got the money, and apparently a lot of lube for some reason. No, buddy. You stay right there. You're right where you belong. But it's so uncomfortable. Like there's no oceanfront view, no state-of-the-art gym. They got me sleeping on a twin mattress. It's not even a memory foam mattress. It's so uncomfortable. Yo, it's jail. It's not supposed to be comfortable. Like, why do these rich people think, oh, I'm going to be living a life in jail? No, my friend. Suck it up. Actually, you know what? Don't suck up anything in jail. Don't do that. And that's not your thing. Like, don't let me impose my thinking on you. You live your lifestyle. You live your truth. Now, what if after years of being in jail, Diddy comes out of prison, he's more open. And like, maybe his friends are like, how was it, Diddy? And he's like, oh, it was great. Really? Oh, yeah, bro. I got my pushed in, bro. Let me see who catches that movie reference.
Diddy's legal team is making a substantial effort to secure his release on bail, proposing a $48 million mansion and a private jet as part of the package. The restriction on the entry of women appears to be a precautionary measure addressing concerns related to his case.
These lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad doing? How's your dad doing?
Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan today in another attempt to get out on.
The prosecutor has serious concerns about Diddy being a potential threat to the community, which likely contributed to the denial of his bail request. This decision is probably influenced by the nature of the charges against him and the assessment of him as a flight risk.
Sean P. Diddy Combs in court, he has pled not guilty, and the prosecutor is arguing that he should be held in jail. He should not be released on bail because he's reached out to witnesses and victims, and some witnesses say they are scared of him. This is according to the prosecutor. They're saying that he's reached out to some victims. The Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson is the one making this argument to the judge. She says that he's reached out to some victims. After Dawn Richard, a former member of a music group Combs started, filed her lawsuit on September 10th, Combs reached out to another member of the band who publicly denied the allegations 3 days later. Johnson said Combs called and texted other women 58 times in 4 days. Stuff like that, just reading off the report from CNN.com. And Kevin Frazier, you heard him allude to it just a few minutes ago, that what else is going to come out of all.
Despite Diddy's legal team proposing a $48 million mansion and a private jet as part of his bail package, the prosecutor remains unconvinced. They argue that the severity of the charges and Diddy's potential influence could pose risks if he were released.
Diddy Combs was just arraigned on his indictment of sex trafficking and racketeering charges, and he was denied bail. I'm shocked, for one. I'm Eliza Orland's career public defender in Manhattan for the last 15 years, and I just heard this news that, in fact, the judge denied him bail and he will remain in custody. He will remain in jail through the pendency of this case. Now, granted, these are extremely serious charges and he is facing up to a life sentence if convicted on the racketeering charges. But I thought that his attorney's pitch, which was for a $50 million bond and putting him in home detention in his Miami residence, would be accepted by the judge. But that is not what happened. And the judge said that he will be detained. Defense lawyers apparently will be appealing this ruling to the district court, and he did, in fact, enter a plea of not guilty today. There is no trial date set yet, but the hearing date is next set for September 24th. It's certainly not unusual for people to be detained pre-trial. However, the defense put together a proposal which basically offered home detention with GPS monitoring and a $50 million bond and handing over his passport, restricting his travel. So I'm just a little bit surprised that no bail got set in this matter and he's just being detained pre-trial. If folks are interested, I would be happy to go into more detail about the pitch by the defense counsel as to what they were offering up instead of pretrial detention, but I am floored, and it looks like this case is going to proceed while Sean Combs is in custody. Leave other questions in the comments and follow along for.
The court has taken a firm stance by denying Diddy's bail, primarily due to concerns about the risk of him fleeing the country if released.
Looks like Sean Diddy Combs is going to have to stew in jail as he awaits a sex trafficking trial. A judge refusing to grant him bail. I'm just saying that there is a great risk he could try to leave the country.
According to Stephen A. Smith, prosecutors are aggressively pursuing a conviction to see Diddy behind bars due to serious charges. Smith emphasized the gravity of the situation, highlighting that the case could have far-reaching implications for the music industry and beyond.
Clear. It's not just him thereafter. These are RICO charges. It's an indictment. It's Homeland Security. Homes raided in Los Angeles and Miami. Computers and laptops and iPads and phones and surveillance videos and stuff like that confiscated. They did that in May. You're talking about months later, and here they come with this indictment, and they're trying to make it so today, as we're taping this show, if prosecutors have their druthers, they're trying to make today his last day of freedom in his life. That's what they're trying to do. They want him behind bars today. Not next week, not next month, not when the trial begins and he's found guilty by a jury of his peers in their eyes. No. They want him in jail now. This is the level of urgency that they're attaching to this. And then
he expressed concern that this may be just the beginning of a broader crackdown, suggesting that many others in Hollywood and the music industry could also be implicated.
Why they're doing that? Because it's a glimpse of what's coming. There's a whole bunch of names. Y'all guess it. I ain't gonna put out no polls. I'm not going to put a poll out there and ask you and give you names and multiple choice. I'm not doing that to other human beings. Only reason I read Kevin Lyle's name is because of the TMZ report that's plastered all over the news right now. It's the only reason I read the name. I'm not mentioning anybody's name. But what they're saying is that's the first domino. That's what they're saying. That's the implication. That's what's going on. Think about the parties at his home. Think about the artists. Puffy, P. Diddy, Sean P. Diddy Combs, Sean Diddy Combs. Think about the artist he's represented, who's worked under his label. Go ahead and do your own homework. Think about the people an inordinate amount of people he's been seen with.
However, Diddy's lawyer has voiced strong support for him, emphasizing their belief in his character. They acknowledge that while Diddy may not be perfect, he is not a criminal.
He came out. Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of the charges. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything. He's been looking forward to this day. He's been looking forward to clearing his name, and he's going to clear his name. And we're going to stand by his side as he does. We believe in him wholeheartedly. He didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion. There's no crime. There's basically just, someone who brought a civil case and now is finding themselves as a witness in a criminal case. And we're going to fight this case with everything we have, as is he. And eventually he's going to be shown to be innocent. And so tomorrow we fight again. And we'll fight every day until we don't have to fight anymore.
However, there have been comparisons between the cases of R. Kelly and Diddy Combs, both of whom have faced serious allegations involving trafficking and racketeering. R. Kelly was convicted and sentenced to 30 years in prison for his crimes, which included trafficking and filming children in inappropriate situations.
Because you don't know whose name is attached to P. Diddy, and you don't know where the dominoes are going to fall. You see, when R. Kelly, with his pedophile ass self, was being pursued by law enforcement, by prosecutors and what have you, it was just him. It was just him. There might have been some people who knew or thought or heard or whatever the case may be, but they wanted him. Okay? They wanted him. When you look at P. Diddy, it almost seems
is facing charges related to a criminal enterprise involving trafficking and other serious offenses. Legal experts have noted the parallels between the two cases, emphasizing the ongoing scrutiny of high-profile figures in the entertainment industry.
You did bring up R. Kelly, and I got to ask this. Precedence does matter. And when we see, even though that was a different situation, different case, when we see what ultimately happened with him, he's going to be serving about 30 years in jail. He's in the midst of serving about 30 years in jail. Wow. How much, if at all, does that play a role in the likelihood of a mountain of legal matters just coming down on him like a tsunami in light of what happened with R. Kelly?
It plays a big role, I think, in terms of how people are responding. Those billionaires, those buddies of his that used to party with him, I think folks are making sure they keep their distance because of what did happen with R. Kelly. Saw Jay-Z.
I think she hit the nail right on the head. I think everyone is keeping their distance. Everyone is staying away from everybody. With Stevie J, seeing like they distance themselves from him. You could completely see that going on right now. Even the other day, we seen LeBron James unfollowed him, and we seen videos where LeBron James been saying there's no party like a P. Diddy party, and now you unfollow him.
Now you unfollow him. It's like the 48 Laws of Power. It's law number 5. Reputation is everything.
Yeah,
so you gotta stay clear.
Diddy's arrest took a considerable amount of time due to the complexity of the investigations, which involved multiple allegations spanning decades and necessitated thorough evidence collection. The legal processes and numerous civil lawsuits further contributed to the delay.
Diddy Combs was indicted today in a federal indictment that charges him with 3 things: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking using force and coercion, and transportation with the intent to engage in prostitution. If his crimes are, as the feds alleged in their indictment, both widely known and continued for more than a decade, everyone's asking, why did it take so long to charge him? One reason why is that Mr. Combs and his alleged co-conspirators did everything in their power to prevent victims and witnesses alike from coming forward and talking through a variety of means, including blackmail, forced drugging, holding their careers and financial security hostage, and engaging in other violent acts like kidnapping and even throwing a Molotov cocktail in someone's car. And the reason it's happening now? That's because a change in New York law allowed several of Mr. Combs' accusers to sue him for civil damages based on their alleged injuries. Chief among those accusers, his former partner, Cassie Ventura, who sued him last November for $35 million. Mr. Combs settled the day after, denying that any of her claims were true. The only problem is, remember that hotel surveillance video we all saw last spring with him dragging a victim across the floor? Yeah, that was Miss Ventura. There are indications that Miss Ventura and other accusers coming forward.
Some women view the arrest of alleged criminals like Diddy as a victory for women's rights and safety.
The judge cited Diddy's history of violent temper and potential intimidation of witnesses as reasons for keeping him behind bars. Diddy's former protege, singer Aubrey O'Day, is celebrating Diddy's downfall today. I feel validated, a win for women all over the world.
Combs has pled not guilty. Those were the only words he uttered in court yet.
What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments section below.